The Taking of Joppa, by Egyptian Classical Tales. Brought to you by TellStory.net, stories from around the world. In the long and glorious reign of Pharaoh Thutmose III, the great conqueror whose shadow stretched across the Levant, a heavy shadow fell upon the coastal city of Joppa. The servants of His Majesty within the stone walls had risen in revolt, closing their gates and defying the power of Egypt. When word of the rebellion reached the palace, the pharaoh's brow darkened. He called for his most trusted commander, General Jehudi, known to some as Tahusha, a man whose mind was as sharp as his bronze blade. The pharaoh commanded,
"Go with your infantry and destroy this wicked foe in Joppa who dares to challenge the throne."
But before Jehudi could depart, the king called for one of his followers. From a silken wrap, he produced his great cane, a staff named Tautnefer, which was said to hold wonders and the very essence of the pharaoh's power. The king whispered to the general,
"Bring this staff, so that my strength walks with you, even when you are far from my sight."
Jehudi marched his army across the burning sands and along the salt-sprayed coast until the limestone walls of Joppa rose before them like a silent threat. Instead of ordering a frontal assault against the high ramparts, the general sent a messenger to the leader of the rebels. The message read,
"Behold, King Thutmose has sent a mighty host to crush you. But my heart is not set on blood. I have seen the Pharaoh's wrath and I fear it as you do. Let us meet in the field, face to face, to speak as brothers who wish for peace."
The foe in Joppa, blinded by pride and the hope of an ally, agreed. They met in a great tent that Jehudi had pitched far from the prying eyes of the soldiers. The rebel prince brought his charioteer, a man who had once been captured by the foe but remained secretly loyal to the crown of Egypt. Inside the tent, the air was thick with the scent of cedar and the false warmth of shared wine. While the leaders spoke, Jehudi's men outside were busy. They prepared 200 large wicker baskets and sacks of skin, padding them with horse forage and hiding within each a fully armed Egyptian soldier. Jehudi lied smoothly as they drank.
"I have brought my wife and children with me as a sign of my good faith. Let some of my people enter your city with their horses to feed them. I shall remain here with you until all is settled."
The rebel leader laughed, his mind clouded by the drink. But his curiosity was stayed on one thing. He said, leaning closer,
"I have heard of the great cane of Thutmose. I wish to see the power that the Pharaoh holds in his hand."
Jehudi's eyes flashed like the midday sun. He reached into his baggage and pulled forth the staff Tautnefer. He cried, his voice ringing like a bell of war,
"Look upon me, O foe in Joppa! Here is the cane of the terrible lion, the son of Sekhet, to whom Ammon gives all strength."
Before the rebel could move, Jehudi raised the heavy staff and struck the man across the forehead. The leader of Joppa fell senseless to the colorful rugs. Jehudi bound his hands with bronze gyves and his feet with 4-ring fetters, stuffing the rebel into a great sack of skins. With his enemy secured, Jehudi signaled his soldiers. 600 strong men appeared, lifting the 200 baskets upon poles. Among them went the rebel's own charioteer, who had been commanded to ride ahead to the city gates with a carefully crafted lie.
"Good news!"
The charioteer shouted as he reached the ramparts, his voice echoing with false triumph.
"The god Sutek has surrendered Jehudi to our master. The Egyptian general's wife and children are being sent first as hostages, along with the first of many bountiful tributes."
He leaned closer to the guards, whispering as if sharing a secret of state.
"Our lord remains in the general's tent to discuss the final terms of surrender and to count the gold. He has commanded that these baskets be brought in immediately to the treasury for safekeeping."
The people of Joppa cheered, their hearts light as they threw wide the massive bronze-bolted gates. The procession of baskets moved through the streets, appearing as nothing more than the wealth and family of a defeated general. No one questioned the absence of their ruler, believing him to be negotiating a grand victory that would ensure their city's freedom. But as the drums of the city began to quiet in the twilight, the lids of the baskets eased open. 200 shadows darted into the streets, their blades glinting in the moon's pale light. They seized the guards, threw back the bolts of every entrance, and signaled to the main Egyptian army waiting on the dark plain. By the time the sun touched the temple tops, the banner of Pharaoh Thutmose III flew from the highest tower. The city that had closed its heart to the king was now his again, won not by the blood of thousands, but by the cunning of one man and the weight of a king's cane. Jehudi sent a message back to Egypt, his words humbled despite the victory.
Aman your father has given you the city and the foe. Send your people to claim them, so that the halls of Amanare may be filled with those who now grovel beneath your feet.
And so, the taking of Joppa became a tale told by campfires for generations, a reminder that while stone walls are strong, the mind of a clever man is the bridge that can cross any moat.